See who sent a tweet to Jared Goff?
I did.
Halle Berry sent a tweet to Jared Goff because apparently they used Halle Berry as an audible, and then she hit him up, and he retweeted it, and I bet you retweeted, but young man, did you follow back? But she ain't have to send that to you. Ooh. She could have said, I don't know if their coach got an account, she could have sent it to him, and it was at your attention.
So you are saying that Jared Goff has an opportunity in front of him?
It's all the shots you don't take.
Wow.
Why not?
You know what? I support this.
I mean, why not on every level?
I'm just surprised the kids appreciate Halle Berry in the way that...
What, do you think the kids are blind?
Touché. The first name is the Patriots. New England lost to the Titans 34-10 yesterday, Bo. Only the second time the Pats have lost a game by more than 20 points this decade. So how good are these 2018 Patriots?
Well, I mean, I feel like you look at the numbers on them and you see this isn't a team that's really excellent at anything. We give them a supreme benefit of the doubt on the Bill Belichick is going to figure it out. And none of us want to be the ones to get out in front and say maybe the Patriots aren't that good. Yeah. The last time I did that, they then went on to win a Super Bowl. Like, it's not a very good omen.
Yeah.
But did you know Tom Brady's thrown 5 touchdowns in the last 5 games?
Ooh, I did not.
That's it. 5 touchdowns in the last 5 games. Gronk is not the player that he was, but still being without him is harmful because since week 4, since Josh Gordon came into the lineup, Josh Gordon has 20 targets, 20 yards downfield. Gronk has 10. He's number 2 on that list after that. He's their threat to help stretch the field. So, I mean, they look like a good team. They don't look like a great team.
So the time that they lost by more than 20 points may be the time that you decided to jump off the bandwagon.
Kansas City.
2014, Kansas City, Deflategate, Gronk off the field stuff, all of that madness. And yes, they go on and win the Super Bowl. So really what you're saying here, if you're defending the Patriots, is believe in the institution. Do not believe your lying eyes in terms of what Tom Brady is doing, because after the game, our ears caught something interesting too, because Bill Belichick is asked, was Brady effective? And he goes, you'll have to ask Tom. Whoa. Yeah, you'll have to ask Tom. And this is stuff that, you know, isn't surprising if you know the nuances of their, at times, Cold War-like relationship. But the reality is he was 21 for 41 for 254 yards and no touchdowns. Tom was not effective.
Yeah, I didn't find myself watching that game in spite of what the score was and being like, wow, the Titans look so great. Not that they didn't look good, right? But it wasn't like they had the game of their season or anything else. The Patriots, they themselves just simply did not look that good. Look, at some point, talent matters, right? No matter how good the coach is, everything else. And the reality is they got to a place where they decided to start handing the ball to Cordell Patterson. Like, Sonny Michel was back, but he didn't play well in this game. Like, in the AFC, are you confident they're one of the 2 best teams? Do you think that they are better than the Chiefs or San Diego, in spite of the fact they beat the Chiefs?
As of today, I don't. And one of the reasons, Bo, is that we are seeing Tom Brady get dunked on. If we can cue up the video, please, of the Philly specials that were attempted in this game.
Why did they do this to him?
Because I think they know they didn't have talent, so this is the thing you do.
Yeah, but we don't have talent doesn't mean pass the ball to the oldest guy on the field.
Yeah, and then that happens.
And honestly, if you're Tom Brady, I don't see how you don't get to veto this one. Right? Like, you should have enough clout to be like, I ain't out here catching no pass.
I think he wanted to prove post-Super Bowl that this is a play that he could make happen. And, of course, the Titans come back and they say, you want to see how you can make it happen?
Yes.
Watch Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, but you know what the Titans quarterback is? Fast. Like, legitimately fast. Now, I don't get it. Like, just looking at them and them trying to do that. That was the time you looked at McDaniels like, did you just try to outsmart everybody here?
It looks a little desperate. And I think for this team, Bo, desperation may be in the cards sooner than you think.
By the way, they're 7-3.
Touché.
Next name is the Cowboys. Last night, Dallas beat the Eagles, improving to 4-5, a mere 2 games behind division-leading Washington. Pablo, we buried this team and fired Jason Garrett last week. Could the Cowboys still salvage the season?
We did bury Jason Garrett. The last time we saw him, we thought he'd be underground. But let's now please cue up the video of Jason Garrett as soon as the whistle blows, because this is the smile of a man in a Cialis commercial. Jason Garrett could not be happier with the hand he has now been dealt. He has a pep in his step. This seems like it's going to last a little bit. And the reason, Bo, is because he outcoached Doug Peterson. I don't know how we evade that reality. The guy we fired somehow outcoached the guy who won the Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, it happens, right? That would be the thing that I say from time to time. NFL teams win, NFL teams lose. What is salvage the season, though? right? Like we put this term out here. Do we think they have to make the playoffs in order to salvage the season? Because if Jerry Jones has shown us anything in the Jason Garrett era, the standard is not very high. Would 7-9 count as salvaging the season? It's a fair question you got to ask with the way the Cowboys seem to view themselves. Here's the bigger thing. Dak Prescott, 3 straight, at the very least, pretty good games. Right now, in this one, Ezekiel Elliott was just a monster, but Prescott was good again. People have dismissed him as a dude that has no business playing in the NFL. He has looked better in the course of the last 3 weeks. Now, if he looks good, forget about what their record is. If he looks decent by the end of the year, that would count as salvaging the season.
Yes, and the bar, to your point, on the season has been so low, and yet the Cowboys are the team in this division with the most talent, right? I mean, at the skill positions.
I mean, is a wide receiver a skill position?
Amari Cooper looked pretty good.
Okay, Amari Cooper, who none of us think, like, we're not so much sold on him. We would have come in this season saying that the Eagles had the most talent in this division.
Entering the season.
Right,
absolutely.
even if you go to skill position, they don't have the running backs, but Alshon Jeffrey and Nelson Aguilar, we're probably taking them over any 2 receivers that you're coming with over off of Dallas, for example.
But the issue, though, is that when you add up what the Eagles have or had in this game, they are sort of hemorrhaging health at all of these positions. The secondary that Ezekiel Elliott was hurdling over, they're missing their top 3 cornerbacks. They're missing Lane Johnson on the offensive line. Jeffrey has been playing great. It's not that they are really like looking for a scapegoat. It's mostly that they're just not as good on all of these levels.
They're banged up, but here's the thing about this division. Washington is ahead. They have what is generally considered to be a big lead in the division. The flip side of this is they are Washington, right? Like, how much faith do you have in a 2-game lead that team is holding where they're fussing at their fans?
Yes, they are. No, they're complaining about how on the road they get the royal treatment, and at home, for some reason, people are out on the Dan Snyder-led Washington football team. Shocking. The last name, of course, Jimmy Butler. The Sixers acquired the man for Robert Covington, Dario Saric, Jared Bayless, and a 2022 second-round pick. Bo, how much better does trading for Jimmy make these Sixers?
That is a very interesting question that I'm not sure any of us have an easy answer to. Right now, one thing that Jimmy Butler brings you no matter what is he is a great defender. Is he a better defender than Robert Covington? It's a fair question to ask. Now, offensively, of course, he is a better player, and they have another guy that can get his own shot, which is important because Embiid is probably the only other guy that could say that about themselves, and we saw what Al Horford was able to do to him. But
I see that in my nightmares.
Jimmy is another guy, though. He's not a great 3-point shooter. He's not going to spread the floor in that way, and Ben Simmons is still a dude who refuses to shoot the ball. But you're not going to tell me that getting Jimmy Butler doesn't make them a better team. I'm just not sure how much better.
I think this was a move that the Sixers absolutely had to make. It's almost an academic question, how good are they going to be? Because the entire religion of the process, which we can debate at a different time, but the entire point of it was you need 3 top 15 to top 20 players to really contend. And what the Sixers did is they got a 3rd top 15 to top 20 player. Jimmy Butler may be 15 or 20 based on your estimation, but Bo, look around this league. How many other teams can claim 3 top 20 players? There is one team. It is the Golden State Warriors, and no other team now has the recipe that we say teams need.
But the thing about the Warriors is, I don't know if we would say those were 3 top 20 players. 3 or they might have 4 to be honest.
Yes.
But it has a lot to do with the composition of the team. Like how we feel about Klay Thompson has a lot to do with the role that he plays on that team. The same thing with Draymond Green. This team is not nearly as perfectly constructed as the Warriors are for all their skills to play off of each other. And then there's the whole Jimmy being Jimmy thing. And so we got Jimmy being Jimmy, with Ben Simmons being Ben Simmons, with Embiid being Embiid, and poor Markelle Fultz just over there like, so I guess this means I don't get to play no more.
Because we do assume that Joel and Jimmy are kindred spirits. I do worry for anyone who is on the receiving end of that collective trash talk megaphone that the Sixers will have. But if you're Jimmy Butler, man, what I would say is your first move needs to put your arm around Markelle Fultz, make him your best friend, at the very least, to reverse this impression that you're going to torture.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I think Jimmy is perfectly aware of some of the image rehab that is going to be necessary.
Yes.
But here's the Sixers' larger problem. This is a problem they had before Jimmy Butler got here. Ben Simmons is useless if he doesn't have the ball. He is amazing if the ball is in his hand. If the ball is not in his hand, what does he provide you? Keeping in mind this is largely tied to his complete and total inability to consider shooting a jump shot. Jimmy Butler likes to pound the ball. Like, that's the thing that we've seen from him in his game. So what kind of off-ball player is each guy going to be? That's why it's like, yeah, you're right. You got to have those guys to contend. That's a necessary condition. That is not a sufficient one.
Now, I would say, though, that this accumulation of talent, they're the second best team in the East to me. I still think Toronto is number one with a bullet.
Right.
And then Milwaukee's there somewhere.
But on composition, Milwaukee's better. Not on talent, though. Coming up next, did Tyreek Hill win the celebration contest for this year?
Ready, kids? Big read coming.
So, yeah, Halle Berry hit up Jared Goff on Twitter about that audible. She ever hit up Hurricane Chris?
Did she get royalties from Hurricane Chris?
I mean, yes, and Robbie, did she get no royalties from Jared Goff?
No.
I'm just saying. He would appreciate a shout-out.
I just feel like other quarterbacks should take this opportunity to make their own shout-outs into the world. You know, take your shot.
Good work.
First quote. Even after yesterday's horrific loss, any possible changes coming to the Jets would be based on a decision made after the season. Tweeted NFL Network's Ian Rappaport after the Jets and Coach Todd Bowles got blown out by Matt Barkley and the Bills. Bo, how should Jets fans have felt watching all of this?
I mean, whatever they should have felt, I'm sure they're used to it. Right? I mean, like, part of this is that if you want the Jets to move a coach in season, I did not realize this until today. They have not fired a coach in season since the 1970s. And you know what that tells me? That this is a franchise that's so accustomed to being bad. They're just like, yo, what's the point? Wait it out. We'll just see how it goes at the end of the year.
Stockholm syndrome.
No, I mean, this was as embarrassing a loss as you could imagine. The only way it could be more embarrassing, obviously, if the Peterman actually had played the game. But this is the kind of loss that makes people want you to fire the coach immediately.
Yes, the Bills were on track to be the worst offense in the history of DVOA. Instead, a guy who was last seen, again, selling Bitcoin prevented that from happening by throwing touchdowns to, like, their giant left tackle. In every way, this was humiliating for Todd Bowles, and the only reason why you don't do this is because what's the point, right? So beyond, like, are you numb to this emotionally, like, what are you going to do? Why not?
Well, my only question, though, for them is, so how good do we think they're supposed to be with Josh McCown out there? Because I think that's part of why making an in-season move at this point doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. It doesn't help Darnold for whenever he comes back. And who wants to sign up for trying to get Josh McCown ready to get this thing going? Like, right, everything comes down to what's the point. And I wonder what the point was for them the whole season, because they made a decision before the year not to start the best quarterback they had on the roster. That was probably Teddy Bridgewater. Yep. They said we were going to get a start on the Sam Darnold era. They went ahead and did that, and the results on that have been understandably mixed. Problem is, there's no cause for enthusiasm or optimism anywhere else on the team.
Oh, you want enthusiasm and optimism, by the way. You know who is starting for the Bills after the bye week? Josh Allen.
Oh.
Displacing Matt Barkley, who just delivered you from the clutches of...
But watch that get him another job. No
Probably.
question. Quote, I got some good camera skills. I did my thing. Just showing love to my teammates. I feel like my teammates deserve it all. Said Tyreek Hill about his touchdown celebration that he got flagged for. Let's watch. And he doesn't think they deserve it all. No need to lie to a little homie. There we go. Watch this. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Oh, he can jump over. Cool. There we go. The cameraman.
Violating a union rule, I'm sure, somewhere.
So, that was a great idea. And part of what makes it great, you will see as it goes, after he gets a hold of the camera. Shout out to the cameraman for allowing the greatness to happen. What does he manage to film? The flag. He managed to film the flag.
This is art. This is art, Bo. And I know the NFL loves to penalize this stuff.
Yes,
still,
why do they do that?
Because I think they're just new to feeling the embrace of fun, right? Like they said, okay, if you're going to do a group celebration with the ball as a prop, we're cool with that. But the actual viral stuff, like, they're just not good content creators. What they're realizing is that, oh, if we let these guys go a little bit further, a little bit subversion, you get actual great video like this.
Here's the problem, though, and this is what everybody needs to be clear about. You say if we let these guys go a little bit further.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Define a little. Because you are defining a little as just something right here. What, like, a little is not something that you can put in the rules and feel like, hey, go a little further, comma, but not too far.
In the rules, in fact, I want a diagram of my half-Filipino brother, Doug Baldwin, at the Super Bowl defecating a football.
Yeah,
I want that to be the line beyond which things may not be okay. But if you stick to that, it could work.
You just wanted to talk about defecation on television,
he
which is what
pooped
makes
a football.
That's good?
Last quote.
How's that good?
It is good. It's very creative. Trying to make my guy Carmelo Anthony the fall guy, huh? Man, y'all need to stop. That's the easy way out instead of addressing the real problem. Tweeted Dwayne Wade after a full day of speculation about the Rockets possibly waiving Melo. LeBron co-signed the idea that Anthony deserves better than this. Bo, what does Carmelo deserve?
I don't know what Carmelo deserves per se, but we do need to be honest about what's going on with the Rockets. Now, Melo is not making anything better, and especially doesn't make them a better defensive team. There's something around 11 points worse per 100 possessions with Melo on the floor. The issue with this team, though, is I believe they are 24th in offensive efficiency as we speak, 24th, and Melo's not causing that problem. This is a Mike D'Antoni team with James Harden and Chris Paul, and they struggle to score points. Moving Melo out of there is not going to fix that part of it. So they may become a better defensive team, and Bzdelik is back and everything else, but I get why they say Melo is being made into the fall guy, because he is not their biggest problem.
No, he's not, but it is a reason to not get Melo. All of this mess is a reason to not get Melo. They were banking on a chemistry experiment that everybody said was scientifically going to blow up. Mike D'Antoni plus Carmelo Anthony, and now they're dealing with the consequences. But we ask about Kevin Durant. Who is in Kevin Durant's hive? It seems like the NBA players are in Melo's hive, and that's the hive you don't want to anger.
But he is their peer, like Wade and LeBron. They see him as their equal,
of course.
Which, by the way, is really nice of them. Michael Jordan never looked at Charles Barkley that way.
Very,
right?
very nice.
It's very, very kind of them to see him in that way. And then I imagine other guys that grew up watching Carmelo Anthony play basketball.
After the break, cocky Baker Mayfield.
You know, it is funny you mentioned this about Melo. I forgot. They brought Jeff Bzdelik back as the assistant for the Rockets, and in the middle of 05, Jeff Bzdelik got fired.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jeff Bzdelik and Mike D'Antoni are with Carmelo Anthony for some indeterminate amount of time going forward. Today's number, $13 million. That's roughly how much money Louisville still has to pay Bobby Petrino after firing him following the team's 7th straight loss. Bo, how did you feel responding to this?
Hey, man, I don't even know who the athletic director is now or how they're doing that at Louisville, but I know whoever's in charge now is not the one that hired Bobby Petrino. And if you're not the one that hired him, you better make damn sure that you are the one who fired him, even if you have to fire him in the middle of this television program right here that may or may not star Bobby Petrino. Check this out, man. That's right. Bobby Petrino is on his weekly TV show looking like a man who either just got fired or knows he's going to get fired. And on the crawl, it said that he was fired.
And this shouldn't be surprising because the team has given up over 50 points to 5 different opponents, 77 to Clemson, et cetera, et cetera.
But it's simple. His presence is contingent upon success. The only way you tolerate him is if he is successful. And he knew this because one time he got into a motorcycle accident and it was maybe under untoward circumstances. So he made sure to wear his Sugar Bowl hat just to remind them that he had taken them to the Sugar Bowl. We always got this. This is always on deck. The Sugar Bowl hat. That's what you're doing with shenanigans.
Mike, that's I was just going out on a Sunday night after dinner, short ride.
Was anybody with you at the site?
When I came out of a ditch, there was a lady there that had flagged down a car, but I absolutely had nothing to drink. I spent the day at the lake with my wife working. She works me hard when I'm up there. The ironic thing is they're sitting there in the kitchen. Becky and I had 2 helmets out.
Becky's wife.
I said, this one's going to be really heavy and hot. And then this one makes me look like a cone head. I think I'll just go with the hat. Obviously, bad call. We wouldn't have converted the 3rd down.
Yeah, I didn't remember that part. Here's my thing. Of course, he didn't say this in the helmets. Honey, my girlfriend thinks I look like a cone head in that other helmet.
Yes.
That is what he is saying.
My girlfriend, who was a former volleyball player, who I then hired to a job in the athletics department that I just went on a joyride with on a motorcycle.
The reason they had to fire him, never forget, he was face first in a ditch with broken neck, and the first thing he started doing was cooking up lies.
And it would have worked if not for those pesky kids. In closing, let's listen to Baker Mayfield, spit game, post game.
Did you say spit game?
I did.
Why?
Because this.
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
He's good.
I care to expand on that.
I just woke up feeling real dangerous.
Like, we know that the Browns fan populace is starved for love and affection, but that was a one-liner and a little wink.
Yeah.
And everyone's like fainting onto their fainting couches for Baker
Well,
Mayfield.
he mocked us and made us feel good about it, right?
Yes.
Like, basically, that's what he said. Yeah, I just woke up and I felt dangerous, right?
But, Bo, people watching this, coaches watching this, I've referred to the Browns as the haunted house that maybe you don't want to move into despite appearances. Baker Mayfield is the real estate agent who's saying, hey, man, come on down. You want a piece of this? And some coaches out there are looking at his little wink and a smile and saying, you know what? Forget the dead bodies here. I can make this work.
Yeah, let me tell you this. That works after wins. Remember that.
17-20.
In closing, I'd never heard of Juan Gabriel until I read yesterday that he might not be dead, which is a big shock to many people because he's been reportedly dead for 2 years. But his manager now says the legendary singer is not dead.
Whoa.
And he will return in December, though if he's not dead, he don't have to really return. Right. I just want to get this out of the way because I know many of you are hearing this and you were thinking one thing. All right, so you ready? Right? I hate to break it to you. Tupac is still dead. Right? I know this. Any glimmer of hope that comes up, Tupac is still dead. We voted against showing you the photograph that we could have put up there that'll make you know for sure that Tupac is still dead, but he's still dead. Didn't Suge Knight's son come out and try to tell us he was still alive?
In Malaysia. Suge Knight's son said he's in Malaysia alive and kicking, and you're here to tell the people that Suge Knight's son is a liar?
Yeah, I'm just saying, you tell me ain't nobody coming across Tupac with no camera phone at this point. Like, come on, man.
We would have had it by now.
Tupac's dead, man. Everybody needs to know that Tupac is dead, but still alive is highly questionable, and that's coming up next.
For now.